Hi, my name is Carly, and I did my psychology and film assignment over Inside Out 2. So, the main character of Inside Out 2 is a teenage girl named Riley, and her emotions within her mind help her navigate through her teenage years. And so, these emotions are depicted as characters that work together to help her walk through life. And anxiety is a new character in the second movie, especially because anxiety is an emotion that arises in the teenage years. And anxiety in the movie is depicted as the antagonist and as a very concerned and hyper character. So she thinks of every possible negative outcome and stresses about all the things that could go wrong. So my diagnosis for Riley would be anxiety disorder. And if Riley went to a therapist in the film, she would be diagnosed with anxiety just because anxiety takes over her mind for a period of time. And the culture of one's upbringing and the cultural context of their life does have a huge influence on the diagnosis of one person. And so, especially for Riley in the movie, the stigmas in the United States is that anxiety isn't real and that we overuse it, which is true. But whenever anxiety is real, we often look at those people as attention seeking or weak. And so this is very contrasted to anxiety in third world countries because they don't necessarily have a ton of access to psychologists and counselors, whereas kids in the United States do. And so it can be diagnosed and treated more prevalently. And obviously, people just express emotions differently, and that has a lot to do with how you were raised. And so, some symptoms shown in the movie, the first one was restlessness. And so, anxiety has like a headquarters, and she's up on the screen, and she has all these workers in cubicles, and they're just constantly thinking of ways that things could go wrong, and they're constantly thinking up these worst case scenarios, and that causes Riley to not be able to sleep at night. And another symptom shown in the movie was rapid breathing. And so this was like at the height of the movie whenever Riley has an anxiety attack during her hockey game. And so before the anxiety attack, she's just rapidly breathing, and she had all these thoughts going through her head, but the way she was externalizing it was through rapid breathing. And a movie reviewer said the theme of perfectionism is threaded throughout the film, and it drives much of Riley's anxiety. And so the creators of Inside Out really did an awesome job of illustrating anxiety within one's mind. And some other symptoms include increased heart rate, sweating, negative self-talk, and tense muscles. And the movie didn't really show Riley tensing up too much, but obviously it can be inferred that she was. So the treatment that I came up with is for anxiety more generally, not necessarily like an anxiety disorder. And so I said physical activity because it's proven to help one focus, help one calm the mind, and relieve stress. And obviously the concern would be like with the underlying concept of perfectionism that it could lead to extensive exercise and like an unhealthy relationship with that. But with done in moderation, it can have so many positive benefits. And so some barriers that may stop Riley from getting treatment would just be the stigmas within the United States of anxiety disorders, just that it's not real and that she's seen as weak. So yeah, and on a broader perspective, anxiety was portrayed as the antagonist of the movie, which is somewhat accurate because anxiety does have the ability to overpower other emotions. And take over one's entire mind. And the portrayal of disorders in film influence our own understanding of these disorders by bringing awareness to the reality of mental disorders because they're often easy to ignore and overlook. And here's my works cited. Thank you.